Welcome back to the second round of the Marquee Models Spring Pokemon League Cup. Today we have Neil Miller against Stephen Kent. Neil is playing Aerodactyl with Talonflame and Stephen Kent is playing Kiawe. So I'm really interested to see how this game goes because Aerodactyl obviously relies on trying to discard a lot of special energy, and Kiawe's deck obviously looks to accelerate as much fire energy as it can to the Ho-Hos as quick as they can, and then obviously then knock out the opponent's Pokemon. But where Neil has single prize attackers, this could cause a bit of a problem for Stephen. So Stephen starts a Tapu Lele and Neil starts his Talonflame, which is a very good start for him. So here straight away Stephen goes for the Cynthia, which isn't an ideal start for him. So he's going to look to try to hopefully draw another basic off of this Cynthia. So Neil's also got that Hoopa, which could cause some major issues for Stephen when he goes in to hopefully start attacking with that Kiawe. So let's see as well if he maybe plays a baby type Pokemon, maybe a baby Volcanion or something. So there's the Ho-Oh, and I feel he's just going to have to pass, yeah. So Neil starts his turn and he's going to attach an energy to the Talonflame, which then obviously he can use the Aero Blitz attack to be able to search his deck for 2 cards, which I believe he's just about to do. So I think he's probably going to go for an old Amber to possibly find an Aerodactyl, and he could possibly go for a DCE of his own, or maybe go for a support for his next turn, because he didn't play a support this go. So he's picked his 2, Stephen's starting his go, so once again another Cynthia, so not an ideal start for Stephen at all. He's going to have to really try and dig something out here, although against this deck where, as I said, it's quite slow to set up, you've got all your Aerodactyls that you've got to try and find at the bottom of your deck, trying to get them out with the older Amber. If they miss, then you've got to use the Fossil Excavation Kit to get them back from the discard pile to then put them back into your hand so you can try again. So here Stephen's not exactly giving him the hardest start in the world, Neil, but at the end of the day this could cause Neil some positive thoughts going into the next part. So there Stephen whiffs the Max Elixir onto the Turtonator, so he hasn't been able to get the energy an extra energy onto there, so he can maybe start attacking with that Turtonator with Shell Trap. So there Neil just cuts his deck, and I believe he's hit 2 Max Elixirs in that Cynthia. So no, misses the second one as well, so not a single elixir hitting for Stephen, so that's not an ideal start for him. If he'd have hit both of them there, he could have possibly had a turn to Turtonator up and running to knock out that Talonflame, which would have caused Neil a lot of issues. So there's the old Amber that's going to come down. He's looking at the bottom 7 cards of his deck. If there's an Aerodactyl there, he can put it down onto his bench. So there is one, so he's hit 1. And I believe he's going to go for a second one. So once he shuffles up, he can then go in and look at the bottom 7 cards of his deck again. So let's see whether Neil's able to get 2 out of 2. So there Stephen's just shuffling his deck, making sure there's no funny business. So there's 7, good, and there you go, there's another Aerodactyl, so he's hit 2 out of 2, so fantastic for Neil start from Neil here. So he's able to get them energy on, he's able to get them Aerodactyl, sorry, onto the board. He used the Crushing Hammer there, which obviously with Aerodactyl discarding special energy, he's trying to discard some of this energy that Stephen's trying to slowly build up with the Turtonator on the bench. So I believe Neil has now used Aero Blitz, so he's looking to get 2 new cards from his deck. And now it will then be passed on to Stephen's go. So I believe he's already drawn for turn, I believe, Stephen. Oh no, so there you go, draw for turn. And I can see he's got a Fire Energy in his hand, and I believe a Kiawe. So there you go, he's just going to straight up Kiawe this turn. No, attach nothing else anywhere else on the board, and just straight up go for that Ho-Oh. So let's see what Neil's going to do, because this Talonflame has free retreat, so if he finds DCE to put onto the Aerodactyl, he can easily hit for 120. So there you go, there's a DCE on the Aerodactyl. And let's see whether Neil decides to play any other cards like a supporter. So here once again maybe a Crushing Hammer will be very, so here he gets the Fossil Excavation Kit, see if he can draw another Aerodactyl from the bottom of his deck. And there you go, he's hit 3 out of 3. I bet Neil's having kittens doing that. So yeah, he's just had 3 out of 3. and this is really not looking good for Stephen, because these Aerodactyls are slowly building up, and being a single prize attacker and being able to hit for a DCE for 120 damage and discard a special energy is not looking good for him. So here you go. So Neil does actually does fail a old amber, and here you go, he's going to go for that Aero Blitz again. So he's hitting 40 damage against the Lele again, and then picking 2 cards that he wants to get out. So let's see how Stephen would like to reply. Oh no, he's going to go for a Kukui actually, sorry, my bad. So goes for the Kukui. He's going to go and play the Parallel City by the looks of it. Just depends which way he wants to face it. So he's going to put it onto Stephen's side, so he has only is able to have 3 Pokemon. And here he's going to knock out the Lele for that early KO in the game. So already Neil's starting to get ahead of steam, looking to knock out as many Pokemon as he can. Shame there's no special energy on there to be able to knock it out anyway. So there, Stephen's going to look to use a Tapu Lele. He's going to look to use an N to then force Neil's hand down to 4 cards. So he doesn't have such a broader hand as he does. But I feel that already Neil's board state is just so good at the moment, because he's got the DCE on the active Aerodactyl, he's got a Dark Energy on the Talonflame, he's got the Hoopa to be able to come in just in case if he isn't able to get an attack off for the next turn, or feels like he needs to go for an attack, so he can just block and barricade Stephen Kent up. So this is now down to Stephen to make something of this game. So Field Blower goes on the Parallel City, puts down the Oranguru, and then let's see what else he's going to do with his turn. So he's going to Ultra Ball, and I believe he's probably going to get another, so he's going to go get a Baby Volcanion. So here, this is the ideal thing for him to try to go at this Hoopa and try to knock it out. The only thing is it will be a 2-hit KO if he's able to get the Baby Volk fully charged. Here he goes for an Elixir and misses it again. So this is 3 out of 3 Elixirs that Stephen Kent has mixed now. So he's not able to get a single fire energy on from that acceleration. So here he's going to use Oranguru's Instruct for 3 cards. He's already attached for the turn, I believe, to the Turtonator. And I believe he's just going to go for the KO on the Aerodactyl. So up goes the Talonflame because it's got its free retreat, as said before. So let's see what Neil's going to reply with. So I believe that's a Parallel City in his hand. So he's going to Crushing Hammer first, misses the Crushing Hammer. And then let's see what else he wants to do. So I believe he's going to Parallel, so he puts himself down to 3 Pokemon, and Stephen's attacks does 20 less damage. So here Stephen can't actually go for the Sacred Fire again. So, Phoenix Burn it is, sorry, Phoenix Burn, to do 180 because of the fact that it doesn't allow Ho-Oh to attack like that again. So he's going to have to find a way to retreat, or he'll have to do 50 damage to one of the Pokemon. Okay, so he's going to Guzma up the other Aerodactyl. So he's going to look to try and hit into this to take another prize card and slowly gain his way back in the prize trade. So it depends whether so he's going to discard all the energy off of that, and up goes Neil's Talonflame. So Stephen's now down to 4 prizes, exactly the same as Neil, but in comes Neil. He's got a DCE onto the Aerodactyl on his bench, and in goes the Rescue Stretcher. So he Rescue Stretches 2 Aerodactyls straight back into his deck. So hopefully he can use his old Ambers to start hitting and then getting his Aerodactyls back out. Remember, he's actually 3 hits out of 4, I believe it is. So there he plays a Cynthia, so he makes his hand a bit bigger. Obviously struggling to find an old Amber to be able to get his Aerodactyls out. So hopefully he's able to find a way out of this. So he's going to look to that. So he's got the Fossil Excavation Kit, so he's going to have a look through, see how many he's played. So he's got 2 in his discard. So I believe he's going to play 1. So there, actually, Neil did miss one of the cards at the bottom of his deck. I'm not sure whether the Aerodactyl would have been changed its position, because obviously Neil did leave 1 card there, but I'm not 100% sure about that. So we'll let the game go and see how it goes. So obviously that Aerodactyl's entered the field of play. Obviously Stephen didn't catch that either, but we'll see. And then obviously Neil's only able to actually get one Pokemon out because of the Parallel City in play, because otherwise he could have possibly played the other Old Amber, but I think he's going to put up with just having it in his hand, just in case if Steven goes after them again. So there's an Aero Blitz, doing 40 damage onto the Turtonator. Here Steven attaches to the Baby Volcanion, and he's possibly eyeing up an Ultra Ball, so he's going to Ultra Ball in to grab a Lele by the looks of it, and possibly a Kiawe. I know he's going to go for the Guzma, so here you go. So he's going to go for the Aerodactyl with the DCE on it. So Neil keeping that Old Amber in his hand is going to help him set up for the rest of the game. So retreats out into the Ho-Oh again, using the Guzma, and I believe Steven's going to have to go use his Instruct, and then he goes to 3 prizes. So here Neil is starting to struggle a little bit in terms of keeping his board state there. So obviously he's got an Aerodactyl still in play, but if he can hit the Old Amber, which I believe he's got in his hand, then he might be able to possibly at some stage grab another Aerodactyl. So he's just going to put Steven down to 3 cards. He's not going to mind that too much because of the Oranguru with the Instructability, and obviously Neil will get 4 cards rather than 6 that you would normally get from the end. So looking at how this is going to go, it looks like Steven's going to be kept down to a low hand size, whereas Neil's going to look to try and register his, I believe, his own Oranguru, so that he can then hopefully draw some more cards himself in later turns. But with the Aero Blitz, I believe he can just search his deck anyway for the 2 cards he actually needs, and then help develop his own board state anyway. So I believe he's searching for 2 cards. I can't see what cards they are, sadly, because of the camera angle, but hopefully that's something we can improve on next time. And Steven's going to draw for turn in a second, once he has a little gander at that Aerodactyl. And he's drawn for turn already. Oh, okay, draw for turn. So let's have a look what Steven wants to do. So he's got max elixir. Let's see if he can actually hit this elixir, because obviously he's failed 3 already. So he's got it, and he's attached it to the Turtonator. So the Turtonator will be looking to possibly Shell Trap, or maybe if it gets another energy onto it, there you go, it will hit into the Talonflame. But I believe it's 10 short, just because of the fact that the Talonflame break has 170 HP, I believe. Now I could be wrong, but I believe it's 170 HP, so this would be actually pushing quite close to knocking out the Talonflame, but it just missing that extra 10 damage. So here maybe Steven should have possibly got out a Volcanion EX sooner rather than later, just to allow him to have that ability. So yeah, so anyways, it looks like he's actually gone to Shell Trap here, but because of the Parallel City, it's actually not done any damage, but it will still remain with the 80 damage to the Talonflame if Neil decides to attack into the Turtonator. So I believe here he's going to hit the... Okay, so he hits a counter energy, so he can use Talonflame's Breaks attack. He's going to Guzma up the Ho-Oh. And does he have the DCE in hand? Oh no, so he's just going to retreat, because Aerodactyl has free retreat. He's going to go to Blitz the Ho-Oh with the Talonflame Breaks attack, which means he takes 2 prizes, and then it means he discards the counter energy onto the attacking Talonflame, sorry. So here Steven chucks up the Turtonator. As I said, ideally here you'd probably look to say Steven will look to try and get a Volcanion to start building up a board state of some form, in terms of trying to use the ability of Steam Up to be able to get an energy so he can knock out this Talonflame. But we'll see. So he goes for another Turtonator instead. So this is the other thing as well, looking at Steven's list, I'm not sure whether he does have a one-off Volk in his deck, maybe it's in the prizes, maybe he's running 2, maybe he just is deciding not to get it out. But personally, I would decide to try to hit that Volcanion EX to be able to do that extra bit of damage, because this Talonflame's causing him a lot of harm at the moment. So here Steven's just having to think about what he wants to do, attach it to the Turtonator, and I believe that is a Volcanion EX in hand, so he probably could have used that this turn to be able to then attack into the Talonflame and then do more damage. But here he's going to use Nitro Tank GX to be able to attach some energies all across the board. So I believe he's attached 2 to the Baby Volk, he's attaching 2 to the Bench Turtonator, and then he's going to attach 1 to the Active Turtonator. So he's looking here to grab some quick KOs here by loading up all of his bench. Neil here, I believe that is a Plumeria. So Plumeria, a card that doesn't really get seen too much. So if he discards 2 cards from his hand, he can then discard an energy attached to any of the Pokemon. So there he's attached it to, discarded the energy onto the Volcanion. So as well, he's hit 120 onto the Active Turtonator with the Aerodactyl. So here Steven's in a little bit of a sticky situation because he's got damage on both of his Turtonators, and obviously the energy onto his Baby Volcanion has been knocked off. So here he either needs to find a way to switch out and then increase his damage. So if maybe he played a one-off tech of an Acerola, which isn't optimal really, but that could ideally come in useful here. But instead he goes for the Guzma to Guzma up the Hoopa, and he just then passes turn. Actually, I believe he Steam Artilleries to be able to then get damage onto the bench. Get energy onto the bench Pokemon, sorry, but it does no damage to the Hoopa because of the Parallel City. So here, I believe Neil is using Plumeria again, I believe that was. So I believe he's using Plumeria to get another energy off of the active Baby Volcanion. So here, I believe Neil's best option here is to try and just deck out his opponent, because really he's got that DCE on the Aerodactyl, which he could go down to just the 2 so he could take a knockout onto the Turtonator. But here with the Hoopa up, it's not doing much damage. He's stopped any sort of damage onto there. So okay, I've lost a little bit of track here. So I believe the Lele's got an energy on it now, and he's going to Ultra Ball away them. He's used 2 Ultra Balls to see what he's got in his deck, I believe, and he's going to fail both of them, I believe, just so he can use Instruct. So there, I believe that's a Fury Belt in his hand and maybe a Cynthia. As you can see, Steven's hand is getting incredibly low now. So let's see what he's going to do here. So he's going to Sycamore for 7, leaving, I believe, 3 cards left in his deck. So he's going to Field Blow the Parallel so he can start trying to do damage. He puts another energy onto the Volcanion and Steam Artillery for 20, and then attach 1 to the Lele and attach to the Oranguru on his bench. So here Neil's going to play Cynthia, so he shuffles his hand into his deck, draw 6 cards. So here at the moment, although Steven's got loads and loads of energy on his side of the field, he's got very little depth left. He's got very little options to attack with apart from this Volcanion. So he might be able to take a knockout on the Hoopa in the next bit, but I believe he could end up knocking himself out before he can go. So looking at his hand, it doesn't actually look like he's got that much energy. So it's down to him now if he's going to try to find another Steam Artillery to be able to power up maybe an Oranguru, but it doesn't look like he does have any energy in hand. I think that's just a single card left in his deck, so Neil could be winning this one by deck out at this stage. So let's have a look to see how this one's going to finish up. So I believe he's going to just Steam Artillery, so he's going to get 2 energies from his discard pile. Oh, it's just a single one, and it's going to go down onto the Oranguru. So let's see what Neil decides to do. So I believe he's going to look like he's going to, Skull Grunt. So he's going to look at his hand. So as you can see from his hand, he has no energy attachments for the turn. And looking to draw his last card of the game, it's a Fire Energy. So he could take a knockout on the Ho-Oh, but overall he's not actually able to take another knockout. So 3 energies in the 3 energies in his prize cards. Neil here has won this game due to the fact that he set himself up so well, and due to the amount of energy he did discard with the Plumeria and stuff like that. So thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you will join us for the next round.